Hello and welcome to The Whole Picture of Japanese Minimalism, a three-part series. Japanese minimalism is the modern practice of Wabi Sabi. Wabi Sabi is the aesthetic of Zen. In today's first part, we'll explore the magnificent evolution from Zen to Wabi Sabi, the origins of minimalism. Why did the Japanese create this aesthetic of subtraction? Steve Jobs' devotion to Zen, Tadao Ando's concrete Zen spaces, Muji's expansion to 30 countries worldwide, all of these trace back to a uniquely Japanese aesthetic sensibility that has been cultivated for over 1,000 years. Through this video, you'll understand the historical development of this aesthetic, from Shinto animism to Zen Buddhism's philosophy of emptiness, and the establishment of Wabi Sabi. You'll also discover its expressions in traditional art forms such as tea ceremony, flower arrangement, and ukiyo-e, and you'll gain insights from ancient wisdom that can enrich your modern life. Let's begin.
From Shinto animism to Mono no Awari.
Our journey begins by exploring the ancient aesthetic sensibilities that formed the foundation of Japanese minimalism. It all starts with Shinto beliefs. Japan has long embraced the concept of yaoyorozu no kami, countless deities. This is the belief that gods dwell in all things in nature, mountains, rivers, trees, and stones. This animistic worldview forms the very foundation of Japanese thought and aesthetic sensibility. It also leads to a deep appreciation for natural materials and textures. Look at Jomon period pottery. Here we can already see the seeds of functional beauty. Then came the Heian period, from the 9th to 12th centuries, and here something crucial happened. We see an evolution from reverence for nature to an aesthetic of the heart. Within aristocratic society and court culture emerged mono no aware, a delicate sensitivity to the transient nature of all things. This was a refined ability to perceive beauty and melancholy that words cannot fully capture. Simultaneously, Heian literature developed the concept of ma, meaningful space or pause. In The Tale of Genji, Japan's oldest novel, this aesthetic of ma appears throughout. Particularly in the final chapter, The Floating Bridge of Dreams, the story ends without resolution, leaving readers in suspense. This open ending functions as ma, giving readers space for their own imagination. Waka poetry is equally important, the 31-syllable form, 57577, that began with the Manyoshu in the Nara period. Hito wa isa kokoro mo shirazu, furusato wa hana zo mukashi no kani ni oikeru. A waka by Kino Tsurayuki, one of Japan's most renowned poets, lamenting the fickleness of human hearts while celebrating the unchanging beauty of nature. Waka condenses themes of nature, seasons, love, and human emotion into this strict format. You could call it the minimalism of language. Let me summarize this chapter. Shinto animism, the belief that gods dwell in all of nature, forming the foundation of Japanese aesthetics. Mono no aware sensibility, the wisdom to accept change and transform loss into beauty, the aesthetic of ma, creating meaning in empty space and leaving resonant echoes in the heart.
Emptiness in Zen philosophy.
Following the Heian period came the Kamakura era, bringing a crucial turning point to Japanese aesthetics, the arrival of Zen Buddhism. The era was shifting from aristocratic society to samurai dominance. Amid continuous warfare, samurai experienced firsthand the impermanence of material things. Natural disasters struck repeatedly, creating a deep need for spiritual guidance. Into this context came Zen's philosophy of ku, emptiness. What exactly was this emptiness that Zen monks like Eisai and Dogen brought to Japan? The Heart Sutra, Zen's fundamental text, teaches form is emptiness, emptiness is form, meaning that everything in this world has no fixed substance and is constantly changing. This wasn't mere philosophy. For people who had lost everything in war, it was practical teaching for achieving inner peace. So, how does one reach this state of emptiness? What kind of practice is required? Zen emphasized that understanding with the mind alone wasn't enough. Actual experience was paramount. Two important teachings emerged from this principle. First was Dogen's shikantaza, just sitting. Dogen taught that following Buddha's example, simply dedicating oneself completely to seated meditation was the highest form of practice. This was a method of stopping thought and returning to the mind's original state. Rather than trying to gain something, one experiences emptiness simply by sitting. Second was Furyu Monji, not relying on words but awakening to truth through experience and intuition. Emptiness wasn't something to be explained in words, but something to be directly experienced. Let me summarize this chapter. Zen's philosophy of emptiness, teaching the release of attachment to fixed concepts, allowing the essence of things to emerge. Dogen's shikantaza, the practice of simply sitting in meditation, focusing on the present moment, the origin of modern mindfulness. Zen's Furyu Monji, emphasizing experience over words, finding truth through intuition and direct experience. These Zen teachings, emptiness, shikantaza, and Furyu Monji, guide us towards spiritual richness beyond material things and beauty that cannot be expressed in words. This becomes the very core of what would later develop into Wabi Sabi.
Establishment of Wabi Sabi.
In the late Muromachi period, Japanese aesthetics reached a decisive turning point, the Onin War. This decade of warfare reduced Kyoto to ashes, and the splendor of aristocratic culture crumbled to dust. Yet this experience of complete loss became the very foundation that gave birth to a new aesthetic consciousness, Wabi Sabi. During the Higashiyama cultural period that emerged from the ruins, Zen monks and cultural figures asked themselves, what is true beauty? Their answer lay in Wabi Sabi, the complete opposite of splendor. First, let's examine Wabi-cha, the tea ceremony of ultimate simplicity. Murata Juko revolutionized the tea ceremony through Zen practice. His famous words, "Even the moon is disagreeable when there are no clouds," illustrate his discovery of imperfect beauty, the act of finding beauty in a moon partially hidden by clouds. The Wabi-cha, begun by Murata Juko, was perfected by Sen no Rikyu with the spirit of Wakei Seijaku. Wa means consideration for others, Kei means mutual respect, Sei means maintaining purity of body and mind, and Jaku means unshakable tranquility. These four principles became the foundation of tea ceremony. Rikyu's Wabi-cha, three forms of simplicity. Simplicity of objects, shifting from expensive Chinese items to Japanese ones, finding aesthetic value in everyday vessels. Simplicity of space, creating egalitarian spaces that transcended social status through minimal natural materials and the Nijiriguchi entrance. Simplicity of movements, the spirit of Ichigo Ichie, treasuring each unique moment, imbuing every gesture with deep meaning. Thus, Wabi-cha established the aesthetic of simplicity, stripping away decoration to reveal what truly matters. Next, let's explore Ma in inkwash painting. The Zen monk and painter Sesshu created the national treasure Autumn and Winter Landscapes, a masterpiece embodying wabi-sabi through powerful brushstrokes depicting nature. The winter scene contrasts with autumn's vast sky by featuring cliffs. The central jagged vertical lines powerfully express the cliff's rocky surface and depth. Using only black and white contrasts to depict snowy landscapes, white represents snow, grey represents rock surfaces and melting snow, while the background is softened to create the effect of falling snow. Sesshu's inkwash painting techniques. Spatial composition. With depth, broken lines expressing infinite space. Powerful contour lines, abstract expression that captures the heart through the power of line itself. Color gradation, creating rich expressive worlds through variations in tone. Seishu's innovative spatial composition and abstract expression through line greatly influenced the later development of Western painting. Third, Japanese gardens expressing a philosophy of nature. Consider Ginkakuji representing Higashiyama culture. As seen in Ginkakuji's gardens, Japanese people established an aesthetic that doesn't simply imitate nature, but abstracts and expresses nature's essence. The white sand expressions of water flow in Kugetsudai and Ginshadan, Karesansui, exemplify this approach. This represents a worldview fundamentally different from Western symmetrical beauty, seeking spiritual unity with nature. This natural philosophy manifests as techniques that draw out materials' inherent qualities. The beauty of natural wood through kokera-buki roofing, infinite spatial effects through Kinkyuchi Pond's water surface. All these techniques don't add artificial decoration to materials, but draw out their natural power. The spirituality of Wabi and Sabi, born from the 4.5 tatami space of Dojinsai, is also the crystallization of this simple, natural philosophy. Thus, Japanese gardens achieved natural authenticity without artifice, perfecting wabi-sabi beauty. This paradoxical aesthetic of following nature's principles while concealing human intention. This is the essence of wabi-sabi, born from Japan's unique view of nature. Summarizing Japanese gardens embodying nature philosophy. Abstraction of nature, aesthetic of abstractly expressing nature's essence through karesansui. Materials' inherent beauty. Techniques that eliminate decoration and draw out materials' own power. Artless naturalness, achieving beauty through harmony with nature while hiding artificial intent. Let me summarize this chapter. Wabi-cha's simplicity, reducing elements to the minimum to discover essence. Ink wash, painting's ma, enriching imagination through unpainted areas, creating lingering resonance. Japanese gardens, natural sense, using natural materials to create sabi, beauty that grows more beautiful with time. Thus, the elements of wabi-sabi were established in the 15th to 16th centuries and would continue to develop further in the following Edo period.
Maturation of wabi-sabi arts.
The Edo period brought Japan to a major turning point. Political stability under warrior rule created cultural prosperity, and merchant culture flourished. The isolationist policy allowed Japan's unique culture to deepen further. Wabi-sabi, established during the Muromachi period, blossomed within common people's culture during this era, developing into diverse artistic forms. First, let's examine the three-dimensional ma in Ikebana. In Japan, with its 4 distinct seasons, people have felt nature and appreciated flowers since ancient times. From the custom of offering flowers before Buddha through decorative flowers in reception rooms, to the Muromachi period when the monk Ikenobo Senkei of Rokakudo established Rikka. This was a revolutionary style that expressed the form of great nature upon a flower vessel. The Kadensho since the Kao era, preserved by Ikenobo, is said to be the oldest existing flower arrangement manual, showing the form of Ikebana slightly after Senkei's time. Rikka uses trees as symbols of mountains and grasses as symbols of water, expressing the scenic beauty of nature within a single vessel, seeking beauty in the harmony of plants and trees. In contrast, Seika, which emerged after Rikka, is a style that finds beauty in the diverse ways plants strive to live and seeks to express the very essence of plant life. Here, the balance of 3 structural elements representing heaven, human, and earth becomes the major characteristic. The 3-dimensional ma in Ikebana, harmony of heaven, human, and earth, expressing cosmic order through the balance of 3 elements. Asymmetrical equilibrium, dynamic balance, creating vital 3-dimensional expression. 3-dimensional ma, embodying flat ma in 3-dimensional space. Thus, flower arrangement was perfected as an art of 3-dimensional ma, composition, deeply penetrating Japanese aesthetic consciousness. Next, the literary sublimation of simplicity through haikai poetry. Matsuo Basho sublimated haikai from common humor to spiritual depth. He compressed the universe into the ultimate linguistic compression of 17 syllables in the 5-7-5 pattern. Basho's shofu haikai established the seasonal word system and achieved unity with nature. He completed haiku not as mere wordplay, but as temporal art that eternalized moments. Basho's haikai aesthetics, linguistic minimalism, ultimate simplicity, placing the universe into 17 syllables, natural philosophy, through seasonal words, sensibility, capturing nature and condensing Japan's 4 seasons, eternalization of moments, temporal art, capturing instants and creating deep resonance. In his masterpiece, Ancient Pond, a frog leaps in, the sound of water, he creates infinite resonance through contrasts of silence and movement. In Quietness, penetrating the rocks, the voice of cicadas, he expresses profound spiritual state through the paradoxical expression of sound and silence. Third, the planar composition and color revolution of ukiyo-e. From a world of sorrow to a world of pleasure. The townspeople of Edo transformed the fleeting nature of life into an aesthetic of savoring the moment. The lineage of ukiyo-e, beginning with Hishikawa Morinobu and continuing through Katsushika Hokusai and Utagawa Hiroshige, brought about Japan's unique visual revolution. Visual innovation of ukiyo-e. Original composition, innovative perspectives, calculating the balance of empty space and overall design. Unique expression techniques. Japan's distinctive aesthetics through expressive lines and delicate color usage. Masterful planarity. Techniques without contour. Shading, displaying masterful expression of depth. Despite flatness, ukiyo-e became mass-producible through woodblock printing techniques and spread as popular entertainment. In the 19th century, it reached the West and gave decisive influence to Impressionist painters as Japonism, revolutionizing Western painting's spatial concepts. Thus, during the Edo period, Wabi Sabi aesthetics matured through spread into common culture, continuing down to modern Japanese minimalism. Let me summarize this chapter. Ma in Ikebana, development from flat to three-dimensional, infusing space with vitality and seasonal feeling. Simplicity in haikai, linguistic minimalism compressing the universe into 17 syllables, eternizing moments. Resonance in ukiyo-e, sublimating daily beauty into art through planarity, composition, and expression techniques. Through penetration into Edo period common culture, Wabi Sabi was deeply engraved into Japanese DNA.
Summary.
In Part 1, we've explored how Wabi Sabi, the core of Japanese minimalism, came to be. This represents the essence of Japanese culture, nurtured over more than 1,000 years, from Shinto to Heian's Mono no Aware, Zen's philosophy of emptiness, Muromachi's Wabi Sabi, and Edo's tea ceremony, Ikebana, and ukiyo-e. These were wisdoms for living, born from warfare and disasters. These can be distilled into the following 5 aesthetic principles. View of nature from animism, from the belief that spirits dwell in all things, cultivating reverence for nature. Aesthetic of Mono no Aware, accepting impermanence, finding eternal beauty. Zen's philosophy of emptiness, understanding that everything flows, letting go of attachment. Philosophy of simplicity, minimizing elements, revealing essence. Dynamics of Ma, using empty space, creating profound resonance. How will you apply these aesthetic principles to your life? Thank you for watching until the end. See you in Part 2.